How we doing?
I'll keep forgetting that one's shorter.
Wow. Hi guys, welcome to Thursday Night Live.
Slowly ease down on an intro?
Oh my god. So,
Anyway.
happy fucking Thursday, bitches. For those who
Greetings from your hands.
pretty much got some awesome stuff coming y'all's way. I'm just gonna speed run through these because we're starting a little later than normal. That and I really don't think y'all want to sit through like 15 minutes of announcements.
Yeah.
So, first of all, happy Love Day tomorrow, y'all. Whether you celebrate it or not with a significant other, I hope you celebrate it for yourself because you fucking deserve it. Next, we are going to be at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market this weekend. New location, Tate's Creek. Steve, what is it?
It's 1165 Center Parkway. Look for the Sunnyside logo above the double doors.
Fuck yeah. He's got it memorized. I do not. So, hi, Russ. That's going to be Saturday and Sunday. New location. We're really digging it. We have a permanent spot and a closable door. So, if you're looking for a little bit more privacy, but you want to come see us at an actual event rather than here at the shop or, virtually, perfect time to do it.
Also, the hours have changed.
Yes.
It is 11 to 6.
On Saturday.
And then 12 to 5 on Sunday as usual.
So, hopefully we'll see y'all there. If not, then maybe catch us at the next one if you can. We'll have another Thursday Night Live this week, and then the last Thursday of the month is Tarot Night Live. God damn it.
Wow, what was that about speed running through this?
Fucking hell.
Jesus. Anyway.
March 1st, we have an awesome event going on because we actually are having a class. Mr. Davis is teaching it. It's going to be over sigils,
Seals and wards and how they work. If you would like to take it, we've got a digital flyer. Ray's got a post going around with the digital flyer that has the link to it. I'm sure if we ask him nicely, he can throw a pinned comment or at least a comment up in the comment section that can get you guys to the actual sign up sheet. It's real simple. You click on it, you pay for it, you're in. Woo! It is $60 and it's going to be at 6 p.m. on March 1st.
It's a Saturday, Eastern time.
Eastern time on a Saturday. You're going to be getting, of course, the play-by-play by Mr. Davis, but you're also going to be learning how to do this for yourself. So it's a workshop as well as a lecture. So it's going to be some fun stuff. Hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys out there. It is going to be digital only. So it's going to be online only. So what's going to happen is you guys are going to be taking this class over our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, you can fucking join it. Woo! Also, if you need a direct link to our Discord, you'll be getting one with your registration for the class. So we'll be sending you either an email or a direct message with the link to the Discord itself.
Going a little further into March, since we're halfway through February, Light It Up Fest in Elizabethtown is going to be the 15th and 16th. We will actually be at that event, guys, and we're super excited. It's a Mama Ruby's event. We'll have more information in the upcoming weeks just because we're still a little far out, just trying to give y'all a couple of ideas as to where we're going to be in March as well. As far as another event, we're also going to be at Sacred Journey. The girls are doing that again in Eastgate.
Yep.
So that's going to be the last weekend in March. That's the 29th and 30th. So if you're looking forward to a couple of events in March because you're, not wanting to get out in the weather this weekend, come see us in March. We'll be around.
Yep, and we'll be in a couple of different locations. So E-Town is going to be a first for Spirit Mechanics. We haven't done a event in Elizabethtown that I can remember, and fuck, I should be able to. I've been here since the conception. So to my knowledge, we haven't been to Elizabethtown, and of course we're going to be up near you, Cincinnati, Ohio people.
Ohioans?
Ohioans?
Is it Ohioans? What is it? Inhabitants?
Ohio.
Ohioans. Miserable motherfuckers above the Kentucky border.
Just
Love you, Red
guys.
and Mimi.
There's a couple of exceptions. There's a couple of exceptions. All jokes aside, we are pretty excited for the girls' event. Sacred Journey is always awesome, and we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing a bunch of you guys. We only get to see you a couple times a year, so
Yep.
year.
All right.
So
Emotional toolbox.
emotional toolbox. I could use one, but for a different reason. There was an incident, and I had to get very physical with the problem, which is why we're late. But all jokes aside, this week is all about healthy relationships. So when we're talking about an emotional toolbox, especially when it comes to healthy relationships, a relationship in and of itself can actually be part of that emotional toolbox. The other thing is that you need to actually be able to use your emotional toolbox in order to keep relationships steady. So we're going to talk about both of those things. We're going to start with what it is that's needed to have a healthy relationship. There's three things. Since we're talking about an emotional toolbox, we're going to be talking about the emotional tools, right? Simple. The first one is emotional availability. Now, what emotional availability is the practice of being able to be there for others, to meet them where they are, and to listen just to listen, not to listen to fix. A lot of people, and I do mean a lot of people, myself included, if not everybody, has a tendency to want to put their 2 cents into somebody's situation. They may have an idea or a better way of looking at it, at least to their own perception. They may have a little bit more life experience and want to share it. However, unless it's asked for, it's not your business to be in the middle of. You're asked to be there for that person while they try to work their own feelings out. Inserting your own is not exactly the best option or the best idea. Because at that point, even if you have the best of intentions, what you're doing is you're injecting yourself into a situation you weren't asked to be in. It's literally you not minding your business. Yeah, this person may be using you as a sounding board, but 9 times out of 10, they're asking you, or you have extended the hand and asked them to actually go through the process of talking things out. Let them talk it out. You can agree, you can give, indicators that you're actually still there and present in the conversation, but you really shouldn't. Well, you know what you ought to do. Well, I know what's best. I've gone through this. Well, at the end of it, you're not them. The other thing with emotional availability is while you're in that space of being there for somebody else, you should always be able to have that space for yourself as well. You should be able to have moments where you can sit and contemplate and reflect. You should be able to have moments where you can actually think about your complex emotions and the things that you have going on and actually work through what it is that you can work through. That way, when you ask somebody to listen to an issue or you bring something up in conversation, it's not just bitching. At that point, it's actually venting. I've worked through this. I just have to get through the emotional side of it. I know what's best. I know what's right. I know what I'm going to do. I just can't get past the emotional charge right now. I need someone to help me ground. A lot of people have this tendency and again, myself included, a lot of people have this tendency to ignore their own emotions in a lot of situations and put themselves on a back burner, tamp it down, repress it. You know, we're going to laugh it off. We're going to throw a joke. We're going to, you know, ignore it. We're not going to bring it up. Well, there's an issue with that. If you start to repress your emotions, you'll eventually wind up with complexes, traumas that you don't remember, anger or emotional instabilities. There's a lot of problems that can come from that. It can actually start to affect your sleep. It can affect your health, affect a lot of the things that you do on a daily basis. And it can also impair your judgment and promote a severe lack of perspective. Now, imagine what happens when you've got that going on and you have somebody that is in real need of your attention. Are you going to be able to actually give it? No. Are you going to be able to be available at that point? No. You're too busy holding your own shit that you can't reach the hand. You can't give the shoulder. So then you look like a fucking turd in the middle of a situation when someone needs you because you want to get the conversation over quickly. You huff, you puff, you know, well, we already talked about this, or, you know, well, you know, it would be a lot easier if you just listen to me. Oh, you can imagine how well that one goes over with me. Doing the emotional availability thing is very important because when you're unavailable in that regard, you start to project. You start to transfer. My issue is your issue. No, the fuck it's not. Even if it's similar, my circumstances may be different. Who the fuck are you to place your issues on me? And then you have arguments as a result. You have misunderstandings as a result. You have, you know, misappropriated emotional energy. There's a lot of problems. When you're able to be emotionally available, you aren't placing your burdens on somebody else. You're not carrying those burdens to begin with. Because when you can be right with yourself and be an adult, you can be right with others and be an adult with them. Y'all got anything?
Just remember that that also extends to yourself as well. It's more than just needing to be kind to yourself. If you're going to actually meet people in the middle and you're going to actually do things together, you have to be able to be there yourself first. And that kind of segues into what we're about to talk about. Raymond?
No, go ahead.
You kind of home run that one.
Sorry.
No, don't
Yeah.
be. It was a nice, pretty
There
bow.
wasn't much for me to add, sir.
I'm so sorry.
No, it was.
No, that was perfect.
This is
What you used to preach on.
this is literally what I used to preach
Like,
on.
I'm just chilling. Like, this is my favorite shit. Like,
This is literally what I used to preach on. It was what I gave a lot of spiritual and relationship counsel on. So it was.
this is literally like one of my favorite things. Please go.
This is actually my shit.
That's why I'm like, yeah, just be nice to yourself, y'all. Anyway, next season.
Do we have any comments there?
Several people saying hi, several people sharing us out, and yeah, Raymond was able to pin the comments.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
I haven't put up on the screen at one point that way people can see.
Awesome, awesome.
so no, feel free to keep on.
Preach away, sir.
Don't say that. That could be bad. So looking at the next part of this, once you're able to be emotionally available, you also need to progress into emotional vulnerability. Now, what does that fucking mean? If we're being available, isn't that being vulnerable? We're giving of our time, right? Either to ourselves or to other people. That makes us vulnerable, right? No. No, it doesn't. You can give of your time and not care about why. You can give of your time and not be emotionally invested. Being emotionally vulnerable isn't just the ability to be there for a situation or other people. Being vulnerable is actually being honest with how it is that you are doing emotionally, whether that is with yourself or other people. It's being able to reciprocate. So if someone is grieving, it's being able to sit there with them in that moment. If someone is angry, it's being able to understand the reason why. If someone is manic and giggly and happy, it's seeing the trigger that's causing it. Likewise with yourself, everyone talks about meditation. Everybody wants to talk about meditation. Everybody wants to talk about prayer. Everybody wants to talk about, doing shadow work. I want to let you guys in on a secret. The more you talk about shadow work, the less you actually do it.
Can confirm.
It's cool to talk about. Yeah, I'm doing some shadow work. Godspeed when you actually start.
Yeah.
The reason why people who are actually doing shadow work don't fucking talk about it. Not in that manner. Well, I'm doing some shadow work and, I'm working on this stuff. And, well, no, you're hyping yourself up to start. Because what shadow work actually does is it takes you from that emotional availability into vulnerability. It exposes you. So you understand the nature of how it is that you emotionally operate and how it is that you're able to empathically connect. It's an amazing process that is horrifyingly painful. Being able to share that with other people in a way that they can relate to is what's meaningful. When you're able to sit there and give people some life experience, well, this is what I've gone through. I know that a lot of people have this going on. I've encountered it this way in my life. I can't understand what it is that you're going through, but I can relate to it. Being able to actually reciprocate and meet someone where they're at. Meet yourself where you're at. The whole point of being reflective is being able to see yourself on the surface of the water. To be able to take that time and go, oh, that's who I actually am. That's what I look like. That's what I've done to myself. And being able to be honest about that with other people is that vulnerability. Everyone talks about having, their heart on their sleeve and, their chest bursting with pride. The fact that they're able to, be just upfront and, point blank with what it is that they've got going on. You know how rare that actually is? That's not something that many people possess, even though a lot of people claim it. I can count on one hand the people that I have had in my life and do have in my life that I can look at right now and know exactly where I stand with them without them actually saying a word. When you're emotionally vulnerable, no one has to fucking ask you how you're doing, where you're at, how your headspace is. It's more than just a feeling. It's not a metaphysical thing. They can see it on you, read it on your face. There is no mask. At least not to the extent that a lot of people have them. At best, you've got to, all right, I'm choking it back. I'm going to be okay. I got to make it through this situation. I'll break down later. But it's an admission of that. Yeah, I know I don't look cool, or I don't feel cool, or I don't sound cool, whatever the situation is. Here's what's going on. Right now, I need to be here. When I'm not here, I'll be fucked up over it later. There's this, and again, it's the same thing as with emotional availability. There's this massive misconception that if you are emotionally vulnerable, you're being weak. You're showing your neck, you're laying on your back, that whole bit. Well, if I let people in, here's the cool part about that. Most of the time, when people actually use your emotions against you, it's because they know you're hiding them. It's easy to use something as a weapon when it's something that's internal. When there's already a fucking stick of dynamite, all you have to do is find the fuse, right? Whereas those who are just, no, here's how it is. What you see is what you get. You don't fuck with those people because you can't. Not in the same way, anyway. There's less to work with. There's less to manipulate. True strength actually comes from being emotionally vulnerable. And you can show that strength without being a dick, a chest puffer, by being available. Conversations are so much easier because you don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to guess. You don't have to worry about triggers. You know where to step. Because it's literally a walk by numbers. People make it so much more difficult than it really needs to be. We'll get into the last bit here in a second. Y'all got something? Y'all got anything?
I just really love this topic for a lot of reasons. One of which is because right now it's so, Valentine's Day gets a rough connotation because it's a capitalist holiday, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. But it's also a reminder once a year that you can do nice shit for yourself. You can do nice shit for other people, and that relationships don't have to be something that's super in your face if that's not what you're looking for. You can do small things. Love is dope, y'all. Fuck. Which has nothing to really do with the current thing. It's just a tiny rant from a tiny cat, but it's fine. Anyway, Raymond.
How am I supposed to follow that up with that tiny ring?
Tomorrow is her day.
It sure is.
Love yourselves. Love each other. Shit. Love is dope, y'all. That's a sticker.
Bumper sticker.
Love is dope, y'all. We need a shirt, Raymond.
Okay.
Love is dope, y'all.
We'll release that with the Spirit Mechanics Loves Mom shirt.
Jesus is a cool dude.
Jesus is a cool dude. We
I do
actually
have that design.
we, as a sidebar, we're gonna start making Ray do some T-shirts and mugs and stuff like that for us. Give some designs, and we'll have some fun sayings and Steve-isms and all kinds of other shit out for you guys eventually. Ray didn't know this, but now he does.
Yeah.
Yay me.
Nah.
I mean, Tiffy already has a ton of designs that I've made anyway. I mean, I think there's like 30 of them.
Damn.
Ray's good at what he does, so we're putting him to work.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it. I really do. That's my giddy spot, is to get to create. That is the one of the things that I love the most about what I get to do. So getting to share that with y'all will be awesome. Because Jesus is a cool dude.
Jesus is a cool dude. And love it.
If anybody saw that, I did release that as a little reel this week.
Yeah.
Actually caught it on the
YouTube.
Spirit Mechanics YouTube. Yeah. Cough, cough, hint, hint.
Share and watch us over there too, y'all.
Yeah. Y'all can find us there as well on the tube views.
But when you actually have that type of relationship with other people, it's fantastic because it's not a question. There's not it's a lot easier to see your insecurities as well, because it's this is typically a conversation I would have with that individual, but I don't have to have that because I know exactly where I'm at with that. Terry is watching us on YouTube. Shout out foreshadowing. Like.
Bum, 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 bum.
Way to multitask.
Right.
So, but back to the toolbox.
So, in that regard, when you're looking at how to have healthy conversations, everybody has that moment where they're like, where do I start? How do I bring this up? What do I do with that? So here's a tool. Okay. Going to give you a not so secret trade secret, right? Any relationship counselor, 9 times out of 10, any behavioralist, any, psych doc, at least psychologist, anybody who is good at their job when it comes to corporate speak, anybody that is a decent public speaker is going to tell you this particular trick. And it's not a trick. That's what makes it great. It's a process of being emotionally vulnerable and available at the same time. So I've brought this up before. if you're struggling to communicate, if there's a problem that's arising, there's an emotion that can't be conveyed without, some fireworks, or, you're afraid of things coming across in the improper way, understand the difference between you speak and I speak. Now, I'm not just talking about you speaking and I speaking. I'm talking about the usage of the words. So you speak, at least as far as quote unquote corporate talk and relationship talk, is you make me feel this way. Well, when you do these things, you should probably, you really need to, but notice what I'm doing every time I say the word you. I'm pointing a finger. You speak is externalizing what it is that you are feeling and placing the burden on somebody else that is listening, whether it has anything to do with them or not. Because it's accusatory. It's aggressive, especially when you're going into an emotionally charged situation. You, and eventually it's like getting that tap to the chest. You. And then after a while, it's a you. That finger right under the nose. It's how it feels, and it's how it builds. And subconsciously, it's a threat. People will eventually start to get frustrated and angry and defensive because of the way that they're spoken to. Now, here's the cool part. Using I speak. I feel this way when I have something that I really need to get off my chest. I have a lot of trouble when this is mentioned, or when this is a situation. I need you to help me understand. Notice what's happening, and notice the way my hands are moving. Because naturally, that's how you're going to talk when you actually talk with your hands and you're using these types of phrases. I'm pointing at myself. I'm holding my own chest. I'm just as intense and just as passionate when I'm giving those kinds of phrases, but I'm placing all the weight and the burden on me first. I'm bringing this up. This is on me. But I'm doing it in a way that you can help me. You can get involved. You take the weight of the conversation and the situation on yourself. So the other person is free to actually breathe and not feel accused or blamed. And if they are in the wrong, it makes it so much easier for them to claim responsibility. There's no guilt that's placed. There's no manipulation there. They're able to openly have a conversation. Okay, you asked, I'm going to tell you. Okay, I understand. This is why I did what I did. I'm angry too, or I'm hurt too. Let's talk about it. It's a lot easier for someone to meet you halfway when they realize that you're willing to fucking listen in the first place. if you come into a conversation half-cocked, then the person is always going to be on their back foot. They're not going to be available. They're not going to be vulnerable. They're going to be defensive, and they're going to eventually lash out. Know the difference between you speak, you, and I speak, I. It's an amazing tool, and it's an important one to actually start to master. The next thing, at least on this end, before we get too much into the next little bit of this topic, is doing something that I like to do. You know, find a way to actually make the situation relatable. If you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, you have to actually help them understand. It's not just for them to get it, for them to just figure it out by mannerisms alone, for them to, you know, oh, well, by process of elimination, I get yelled at when all these things are said or done. I don't when these things happen. That's really abusive. It's really fucking awful to do to another individual. Instead of doing that way, you have to actually be able to make it relatable. One of the best things that I found is something that my granddad taught me. You know, I've talked a lot about Merle. I'm going to continue to talk a lot about Merle. Merle is literally the reason why I am the way that I am when it comes to a lot of things. But one of the things that he did was he used analogy. Well, it's like this. You know, I know you're not getting me where I'm at. Okay, so you can't force a relationship. It's kind of like putting a key that doesn't quite fit into a lock. Yeah, key may slide into the hole, but the tumblers aren't going to get triggered. And the more you force it, the more apt you are to break that key off in the lock. And then you're going to have a lot more trouble opening it up, aren't you? You're going to have to go through the trouble of having someone come out, drill that lock out, take it out, put a brand new one in, just to make that door functioning again, when all you really needed was to take the time to find the right key. Using analogies makes it a lot easier for people to fucking understand, because you can equate the situation to something that they do, something that is common and everyday. I love my grandfather to death. Say that because he's still with me. Love him to death. That is one of the best things he ever taught me. You can make anything relatable to anybody, as long as you take the time to do so. All you have to do is find that one thing that they understand. You have to be available enough to listen. You have to be vulnerable enough to talk about it. But it's a lot easier than it seems. Any comments?
Yep. So Tiffy's actually watching and jumped in the comments and said, hey, boost the YouTube LOL monetization will hit in a decade or so. And then when you were talking about the you speak specifically, you said the automatic shutdown followed by explosive rage monkeys because I have to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then said just remember too that when there's trauma associated with that kind of stuff, even I statements can make you feel backed into a corner, pressure and release.
True. Any statement can be seen as a weapon. You know, these are tools. It's not a end all beat all. It's literally a toolbox. That's what we're looking at. You know, right tool for the right job. But yeah, depending on how it's said and how the approach is, any statement can be viewed as a club over the head.
It's all about tone too.
It is.
Especially here.
Do I?
Especially here in Kentucky.
Oh, I'm sitting here. What do you mean by here?
Yeah, no.
How fucking dare you?
I started thinking about tone. I'm like, yeah, because you know, I've said things before, and I meant them extremely genuinely, and apparently, the tone was more like, "Oh, that's an ugly baby." No, that's not what I said. No, but Jimmy, because I have a hammer.
Got a gnat or something in here.
We do. He's been circling, and that's why I keep like fucking Johnny Depping up into the sky. 'Cause
Needed your fly swat. This is backcountry.
pretty much.
God, this is Sparta, motherfucker. Jeez.
Love? Question mark.
True love. So looking at the last bit, and this is where everything kind of ties in, and that is emotional maturity. And this is going to be one that probably triggers every motherfucker in this chat room right now for one reason or another. It's not a call out. Okay? It's not a call out. That's not what this is. I understand that circumstances are different for every person. This is literally what you would get from any decent psychologist, any decent therapist, any pastor that was trying to give you life advice, any life coach. This is literally what they would tell you. I swear to God Almighty. And that is the ability to be emotionally mature is the ability to have control of yourself in situations that either A, involve you directly, or B, don't involve you at all. How do we have emotional maturity? It's almost like I've been talking about this shit the entire
45 minutes.
There we go. The entire time. You have to be emotionally available. In other words, you have to be able to understand the situation that you're getting uppity about in the first place. Or that you're being, brought into in the first place. You have to understand it. Why are you there? The next part is the emotional vulnerability. Being able to understand that if you are a part of the actual issue or situation, you can take responsibility for your part of it without feeling as though you're getting clubbed with a fucking sock full of grape nuts. Or if it's a situation that doesn't involve you, you don't get emotionally charged over shit that isn't your business. you're able to actually discern what it is that you need to be emotionally vested in, while still being able to be a sounding board. Then there is emotional vulnerability, being able to give advice without bias. Well, because I'm triggered, I'm going to give you advice about how I feel. No, that can get someone in a lot of fucking trouble, or make a situation a lot fucking worse, because you're inserting the way that you feel into someone else's situation and telling them that that's how it is, when in fact it's not your fucking issue and you don't have the right. If you are a part of that situation, it's being able to approach it correctly. Does it mean that you can't be angry? No, I don't want to hear that in the comments. Does it mean that, you can't be upset? No, I don't want to hear that in the comments either. What that actually means is that you are putting the right emotion with the right situation. You're able to actually use the proper speech, the proper tone. And you're able to challenge the situation correctly. At the end of the day, it's up to us to control our actions and our reactions. That's not on somebody else. It's not on someone else to walk on eggshells. It's not on someone else to fix it or make it right. It's not on somebody else to make it make sense, unless it is their fault. Your emotions are your own. Your perceptions are your own. You should actually be able to convey those in a healthy manner, or at least ask for the time to process in a healthy manner. Emotional maturity is also being able to say, I'm sorry.
And mean it.
Not just lip service. Well, I'll give a bluff. Yeah, well, whatever. I'm sorry, I guess. And expect somebody to take that. It's two words that, with the right emotional emphasis, mean the world and can fix a situation like that. I don't know what it is with the world and why it is that it's so difficult for people to take responsibility for their actions. But it's an amazing superpower to see in fucking action anymore. It's like common sense. Emotional maturity is a fucking superpower. It's a legendary ability. Because so many people expect others to just be there, to just get it, to just do it, to just roll over. No. Be emotionally mature. Understand that other people have emotions too. And that it's not always on the other party to say, I'm sorry. It's not always on the other party to be the one that has to take the blame. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet. And I'm going to do the pastor thing for a moment, but I'm going to put my own redneck spin on it and say that it takes two to fuck up a situation. Two people. Takes two. Now, before people fly off the handle. And I love the fact that I have to throw so many disclaimers while I'm trying to actually have a discussion. That's amazing. I am not saying that certain situations, such as SA or violence, I am not saying that people ask for that. Do not put those words in my mouth, fucking ever. That is not at all what I'm talking about in this situation, okay? What I'm talking about is actual reciprocated conversation, emotionally charged arguments, situations where you're supposed to actually be communicating that you're not. That is what I'm talking about, because I'm talking about healthy relationships. You should be able, as an adult, to at least understand yourself enough to help someone understand you. Emotional maturity is the ability to take responsibility for your emotional well-being, and as an extension, your emotional presence. Being able to go, look, I'm not cool, not okay. If I sound rough, if I say something, it has nothing to do with you. I'm going to come across raw as hell for the next little bit. So sorry. Or I'm struggling to keep things together. I may be quiet for a little bit. Or I may not be able to 100% give an answer, but this is the best one I can give right now. This should be able to hold things until I can actually give you something more. Being able to take yourself by the hand and lead yourself through a situation is important. And with that spare hand that's not holding on to you, you can reach out for the other person and go, I understand that it's scary. I understand that it hurts. I understand that one or both of us is upset or angry. But here we are together and we can do it together. Here we are together, we can fix it. Here we are together, we can agree to disagree. It takes so much effort and energy to be hateful, to be angry, to be, reclusive, to be, accusatory. It takes so much more energy to externalize everything and throw everything out at other people and you fucking handle it. It also takes a lot more energy to internalize that shit to the point to where you don't even know what your emotional state is, how it is that you function. It takes a lot. When it's very easy to just go, look, can I talk to you? Hey, I'm struggling. I need you right now. Can I have a minute? Hey, I kind of didn't appreciate that. Can we talk about that for a minute? That really kind of hurt my feelings. Or that really wasn't cool. Why'd you do that? and being able to be there for the answer. You know, what do they call that again? Open and honest communication. That thing that everybody puts on their dating profile but never commits to. That thing that everybody puts on a fucking dating app but never fucking follows through with. That thing that everybody fucking says in their wedding vows and, you know, is the leading cause of a fucking divorce. If people would actually commit to communicating and talking, the world would be a much better fucking place. Things would be nowhere near as stressful as they are, at least not in the same way. So how do we do that? Well, we talked about I and you speak. We talked about actually being present. We talked about actually committing to the situation. If you're struggling with somebody, one of the best ways of handling it is to take a moment. Okay, I don't know how to make this make sense right now. Give me a couple minutes. Let me cool down. You think about how it is that you feel. I'll think about how it is that I feel. And what I need you to do is think about some questions. Give me something to bounce off of. That way I can feel where it is where you're at, and I can actually answer things as opposed to just trying to, you know, smash a square peg into a round hole. It's okay to take a moment to collect yourself. Now, saying that, it's not okay to not revisit. Some people have this tendency, you know, and there's a lot of people that do this, if not everybody at some point in time. And that is, you know, I need a minute. What that person isn't saying is, I'm done with this conversation and I don't want to have it again. It's under the guise of, because we're wanting to placate and not cause more drama. So I need a minute. I'll get back with you. And then you never do. Don't do that. Don't do that. That just builds a lot of tension in a lot of different places. And you don't have to burn a bridge to make it crumble. Just got to make the joints weak in the fucking trestle. Every time those things are left, there's the intrusive thought that goes, what did I do wrong? How did I, how did I fuck it up? Well, said we were supposed to talk about it, but now we're not. Was it let go of? Well, I still have feelings. Should I bring it back up? Well, they're not wanting to talk about it. And every single one of those repeated thought processes just starts to unscrew those bolts, those rivets, until eventually, stink, they just pop out. And that part of the trestle is weak at that point. And any kind of weight that's placed starts to make it rickety as fuck. That person doesn't know where they stand anymore, how they should feel, how they should act, because nothing was ever finalized. There was no closure. There was no clear, distinct way of handling it. So now they're afraid of repeating that situation. It's great for one side, because then they don't have to deal with that situation with that person anymore. But on the other side, it's heavily heavily manipulative. You're training that person, you're conditioning that person to constantly fear going back to that space because they don't want things to fall apart and it be on their head. If you're going to say that you're going to communicate, fucking communicate. Some people have difficulty when it comes to remaining emotionally stable when it comes to conversations. They get really loud, they get passionate, you know, when they feel defensive, they, you know, say hurtful things, or, you know, they get reclusive and buckle into themselves. When you start to get to a point where it's so heavy, the emotional presence, the static is so fucking dense and, you know, just in the air that it's hard to breathe, and you feel backed into a corner, ask for some air. Take a breath, or 3, or 5. Ask for a minute. Hey, let's take a break for a second. Let me get some water. Let me get up and walk for a second. You know, I'm getting lightheaded. You know, I'm getting a little too ramped up. I need to kind of calm down. Even to the point of, I feel kind of caged right now. Give me a second. Let me get up and pace. Let me, you know, talk myself off the ledge a little bit. Be emotionally mature. Understand your limit. Okay, that's all I can take at the moment. Not saying that I'm done with the conversation. I'm saying that I need to be done for the moment. Cool. You're protecting your own space and your own sanity. You're giving someone the heads up and letting them know where your headspace is. You're also committing to the situation and the conversation. In a simple sentence. If you have issues with focus, find something that you can tediously do. Find you a stress ball. Find you, you know, something that you can work with your hands, you know, something textile, an actual anchor. Find something that you can do that you don't have to look at. That way you can maintain eye contact with who it is that you're talking to. That's something else. When you don't maintain any form of contact, or at least attempt to look the other person's way while they're speaking, it shows them how uninvested you are. Which, one, makes them not want to actually talk. And 2, can really frustrate a situation very quick because they feel as though you're not listening to their point. And for all intents and purposes, you aren't. Does it mean that you're not hearing what it is that person is saying? No. You're hearing every word of it. You might even be able to repeat it. But if there's not that eye-to-eye connection, the human brain does this thing, and it does this even in a healthy mind, which, find one of those in this day and age, and I'll give you $5. because that's all I have to my name. But even in a healthy person's mind, it starts to set off alarm bells. For someone who is not great on the mental stage and tends to act the fool emotionally, what you're actually doing at that point is showing them that what they care about doesn't matter. Having that eye contact, even if it's just, a glance up while you're acknowledging, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'm here with you. It's like this, right? It changes the situation from, okay, what they're doing is more important than what it is I'm trying to convey, to, okay, they're needing that to keep them here. So we've got a laundry list of things as far as a toolbox. Be available emotionally. Allow someone to come to you. Allow someone to talk to you. Be present. Be emotionally vulnerable. Allow yourself to go to other people and for them to talk to you. You can do these things, both availability and vulnerability. You can do those things for yourself as well. Be emotionally mature. Combine the two into a sound person, into a sound thought process. Maintain some eye contact. Mind the tone. Choose your words. Actually attempt to communicate. Listen to listen. Not to, retaliate or to fix. It's simple to just be in the moment. A lot more than what a lot of people would have you believe. I think and this will be the last thing that I say tonight. I think one of the things that I preached on the most was this topic. I know Brian preached a lot about the different types of love when he was doing his sermons. Most of mine were on faith and forgiveness. And I think that is a beautiful thing between the two of us. And the reason why is, in order to love unconditionally, you have to have faith in that person. That they're going to be there regardless. That they're going to try and understand. That they're going to listen when you try and help them. That they're going to do better if they're not. Or they're going to help you do better if you're not. Being able to forgive the situation and that person within means. I'm the kind of person that eventually, depending on the situation, I am throwing that disclaimer, depending on the situation, but at least in terms of about on tonight's Thursday night, being able to forgive them or the situation, or let them forgive you, because it's your situation. It's really important to be able to understand that we are all humans and that we're going to fuck it up. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to do the wrong thing. We're going to be complete Neanderthals, assholes, abusers, and fucking jerks at some point in our lives. There is not a human on earth that is spotless. Jesus himself was not fucking spotless. Jesus went into a temple square and whipped motherfuckers for doing sales and gambling. He hung out with murderers and thieves and whores. He was the definition of bohemian and a gypsy. No man is spotless. No woman is spotless. You have to forgive yourself or have had to have been forgiven at some fucking point in your life for some dumb shit you've done. And the reason why that person forgave you or you forgave yourself was the faith that you had in yourself, they had in you. And that kind of circles back, doesn't it? You were forgiven because of faith. And that person had faith because they love you. Or you took the time to actually love yourself enough to have faith and forgive yourself. As far as relationships are concerned, it is two individuals that love each other, have faith in each other, and are willing to forgive each other, whether that is platonic or romantic. Two individuals that are trying to find a connection through that faith, through that love, through mutual forgiveness, to make it work, to make it through together, to give each other some kind of support, to make life a little easier when it's not. Y'all got to understand something. There's a reason why I say the certain things that I do. And one of the more recent ones that I've adopted, which has happened over the last 6 months, is it takes a lot less energy to be awesome than it does to be an asshole. Being awesome is a God-given gift. You wake up every morning and you are your own personal fucking miracle, because how humans exist is still unknown. How we get up and function is still unknown. You're a miracle. What's really awesome is the fact that people in your life are God-given miracles for you. Every day you have the opportunity, whether it is a complete stranger or someone that you've devoted your life to, you have the opportunity to spend time with a miracle, with something that science can't fucking disprove or prove, with something that divine is the only thing that keeps it running. you have the opportunity It's also the reason why I say I see the face of God in everybody that I meet and everybody that I work on. Because guess what I do? Understanding that fact allows me, it affords me, gives me that moment of clarity that I can forgive, that I do have faith, that I will love. I don't desire a connection with other people. I know that it's freely given. I just love to share it.
Love's dope, y'all.
Love's dope. Y'all can do the same. Every one of y'all can do the same. It's only as difficult as you make it, because it should be as easy as breathing. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on some comments, and then I do actually have a little bit that I wanted to say. Mandy said, "Love this so much. It's always okay to say I'm getting upset. Can we take a 10-minute break so I can cool off? Active listening helps too to make sure that you are hearing them correctly and if they're hearing you." And Keith said, "I understand unconditional love, but that doesn't mean we have to keep putting up with the constant abusive behaviors, that we can love someone from a distance while forgiving them for our own peace. Fact is, people walked away from me in the past and they needed to. I wasn't a safe person back then. They made the best decision they could at that time, and I'm actually proud of them for that. I'm also thankful. It helped me learn, I think he meant to say things about himself in order to ask for help to grow as a person. Gave me the strength to look in the fucking mirror and see it." One of the last things that I'll say, and it will be the last thing for me tonight, is just remember, be kind to yourselves. Everybody deserves love. It is another one of the God-given things. You're born with it. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with that. And that includes not only for yourself and other people, but also for whatever flavors you work with or don't. You get to make that choice every day, every moment. What do you want to do with it? Raymond?
I mean, y'all pretty much said it in the best way. I was giggling to myself while I was sitting here, though, because it made me think of a joke that I heard forever ago. And it was, everybody was at a family reunion, and the great grandmother's sitting there, and she just starts laughing to herself. They're like, "What are you laughing about, Grandma?" She's like, "Everybody's here because I got laid."
True, though.
Yeah, it was true. But, we are the epitome of someone else's love. So we were given love before we were ever born. And that carries on. So
Love is infectious. It's contagious. Just like the more negative emotions, love can spread like wildfire, just the same.
Look at Valentine's Day.
It's tomorrow. All day
keep your
tomorrow.
Valentine's Day to yourself tomorrow. Joking, totally joking.
But for real, do something nice for yourselves this weekend. Do something good for yourself at least once a day if you can. At the very least, just have a good conversation. Whether it's saying an affirmation, whether it's doing something far more extravagant, take care of yourselves.
Will, on that note, come see us this weekend. The three of us will be there on Saturday, and we'll be back on Sunday in some capacity. There's going to be whoever is going to be there, and we're going to be at 1165 Center Parkway here in Lexington, Kentucky. Look for the sunny side over the door. I'm sure they're going to have the signs and the banners and everything out, letting you know exactly where to go. But just in case, since this is the first full month in the new location for the Central Kentucky Mystical Market, giving you guys some landmarks to look for. We're going to be there 11 to 6 on Saturday and 12 to 5 on Sunday. And looking forward to seeing you guys. Also, don't forget that the sign-up sheet for the first 300 level class of the year is up and about. Raymond's got it in the comments. All you guys got to do, click the link and register. It's going to be $60. It's going to start at 6 p.m. March 1st. That's Eastern time. It is going to be online only. So you guys will be taking it over our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, we'll be shooting you a link with the email that you register with or sending it to you through a private message. All you got to do is join the Discord. Make sure that you are online on said Discord server right about the time that the class is supposed to start, and we'll get you pulled into the classroom. But hopefully we'll see some of you guys out this weekend. There will be a pre-recorded forecast tomorrow. I get a little spicy in it. Go figure. But imagine that. I get a little spicy in it. But there's reason. There usually is, but this one there's actual reason. But until we see you guys again, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that those that have the power to change the world first have the power to change themselves. And I said it differently this week for a reason. Love you guys.
Love y'all. Now go love yourselves and each other. Oh. Good night, everybody.